In this video, I will demonstrate how to download our statistical software. We first navigate to cloud.r-project.org. On this page, which is called the Comprehensive R Archive Network, or CRAN for short, you'll discover that you can download and install R for systems such as Windows, Mac, or Linux. For Windows users, you can click Download R for Windows. And in terms of the subdirectories, you can click on Base, since most people would not have installed R previously. Once you click on Base, you'll be shown the most updated version of R for Windows. And you can click on this version and download and install onto your desktop. Once installed, you can bring up the R GUI or R Graphical User Interface window, which should have an icon on your desktop. And once you open this, you will see what we call the R workspace. Now, within the R workspace, there is an R console window, which is the default window that appears and provides information regarding the version of R, license information, as well as functions which can be used to provide help and also to quit the software. If we navigate to the File tab, and these are also represented by icons below, we can see within the File tab, we have New Script, R source code, open script, display files, load workspace, change directory, print, etc. One of the features that will be important to you would be the New Script tab. And this opens an R editor window, which is similar to a text or notepad file. You should note that in the console window, any information typed in this window is only available in this session and is lost when R closes. However, the R editor window acts like a Word file where you can actually save any of the code or what we call scripts for later use. Inside the software, we also have packages. Now, the main version of R you would have installed would be a base package. If you need additional packages, you can actually access those packages through what is called the CRAN mirrors. These are servers that are located all over the globe. So we can go to the Packages tab and click Install Packages. You would see a dialog box asking for the specific CRAN mirror that you would like to connect to in any specific part of the world. And in this particular case, we will just use the cloud, which connects to the online servers. So we click OK. And in a few minutes, it brings up the packages window, which gives us an indication of all the available packages within this version of R. These are actually extensions of specific routines. So for instance, in the demo that we will do in a few minutes, you would want to access the psych packages and psych tools packages, which are lodged here. Please note that these packages actually contain what we call R functions to be able to perform specific tasks. So if you would like to access the package, you scroll to the specific package of interest. And in this specific case, you can see a number of psych-related packages. We have psych, we have psychometric, psych tools, etc. So just to show you an example, we can click on the psych package and click OK. And it downloads all the various routines and functions related to that specific package. and unpacks them successfully via this message and indicates what directory it was downloaded to. Now, before we go to the actual use of the package, we have to look at what we call the R code or R syntax. Since R is different from SPSS, where in SPSS we would have point and click, where we can go to a specific routine in the tab. For instance, we would have used analyze, descriptive statistics, etc. In this specific case, we are tasked with actually writing the codes to perform specific statistical analyses. Now let's start simply with the language of R. This is a programming code that we would need to know. So for instance, if you would like to type a simple message, one of the main things that you would like to do when you use our software would be to put in comments to give persons an indication of what the code is doing. We can use a hashtag to actually represent a comment in R. And in this case, we can say my first R code. Without the hashtag, we will get an error since R would not recognize those words. R recognizes various symbols and letters and numbers, which are put together to actually indicate what the specific analysis would be. So if I would like to actually assign a message, I have to create a variable to hold that specific tagline. So in this case, if you would like to type a message, one of the most famous messages in programming is hello world. We can type the word message, and to be able to show that this is actually going to hold a specific message, we would use what we call an assignment indicator, which looks like a less than sign and a dash. And we can type the words hello, comma, world, exclamation point. And that is called a string. And we will keep that within double quotation marks to indicate it's a message that is being held by this variable. So you could see the arrow kind of shows that hello world is defined by the word message. So when I click enter, if I would like to have R print this message for me, I can type print message, or I could just type the word message and it will return to me what I typed previously. So within R, it actually saves the word message as hello world. One of the best ways to do this is to actually save these in a script file, or the editor as we call it. So we can actually type the same words into our R editor. And the difference here is that instead of pressing enter, what we would do to run this code or to execute the code, we can highlight all of the code and right click on it and click run line or selection. And it will run the same code that we had in the R console window. Please note that there are other functions and routines associated with R. And in terms of beginner stages of R, you would actually be able to understand the assignments of variables within R. So for instance, if we would like to do a simple addition, while we can type 2 plus 4 and highlight and run that line and get 6, one of the benefits of using R is that we can actually assign the values to the variables. So we can say A equal, or we can say A is assigned to 2, just as we did before. And we can then say B is assigned to 4. And we can say A plus B and highlight and execute that code, run the line of selection, and we will get our addition. So this is simple arithmetic and simple coding within the R console window and of course the R editor. Do note that in the R editor, you can go to File and click Save As, and you can save your code. So you could save my first code, and you can save that on your desktop for later use. Now, we would also like to look at the same analysis using what we call RStudio. So just to go back to the internet, RStudio is actually a version of R that is a little more compact and more user-friendly. So it's called an integrated development environment for R. And what this means is when we click on RStudio after we Google it, you would see that the name has changed now to Posit, but it's still the same idea of using R in a friendlier looking interface. So if you were to click on download RStudio, it will download the package to your device, similar to the original base version of R. And you can actually download it to your desktop. And when you navigate to your desktop, this is what RStudio would look like. You would see that you have the same console window. You have an environment which hosts all the variables that you would have used in your computations. And then you also have a packages window, similar to the packages window in the base version of R. And I think we could all agree that this version looks a bit more user-friendly, and it's widely used by companies for this purpose. We can perform the same analyses because it actually has the same R scripts lodged within here, so we can call our variables as well. Assign A to 2, we can assign B to 4, and we can find A plus B. In this case, we can highlight and click Run, and the console window on the bottom left-hand corner gives us the same computation as the original R window.